Hi, this is Ashley Eckstein, voice of Ahsoka Tano, and thank you for listening to the Super Awesome Geek Show.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind, 10 years after the Earth-Minbari War. The Babylon Project was a dream given form. Its goal, to prevent another war by creating a place where humans and aliens could work out their differences peacefully. It's a port of call, home away from home for diplomats, hustlers, entrepreneurs, and wanderers. Humans and aliens wrapped in 2,500,000 tons of spinning metal, all alone in the night. It can be a dangerous place, but it's our last best hope for peace. This is the story of the last of the Babylon stations. The year is 2258. The name of the place is Babylon 5.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace. A self-contained world 5 miles long, located in neutral territory. A place of commerce and diplomacy for 250,000 humans and aliens. A shining beacon in space, all alone in the night. It was the dawn of the third age of mankind, the year the Great War came upon us all. This is the story of the last of the Babylon stations. The year is 2259. The name of the place is Babylon 5.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace. It failed. But in the year of the Shadow War, it became something greater. Our last best hope for victory. The year is 2260. The place, Babylon 5.
It was the year of fire.
The year of destruction.
The year we took back what was ours.
It was the year of rebirth.
The year of great sadness. The year of pain.
And a year of joy.
It was a new age. It was the end of history.
It was the year everything changed.
The year is 2261. The place, Babylon 5.
There's a hole in your mind.
What do you want?
No one here is exactly what he appears.
Nothing's the same anymore.
Commander Sinclair is being reassigned.
Why don't you eliminate the entire non-homo?
Reaching out of the star.
Who are?
President Clark has signed a decree today declaring
These
martial
orders
law.
have forced us to declare independence.
Some people get off their encounter so their butts and do something. You are the one who watches Ahadu who will die.
Why are you here? Do you have anything worth living for?
Think of my beautiful city.
Giants in the playground.
Get the hell out of our galaxy!
We are here to place President Clark under arrest.
Guys, I'm tired of cash-thirsty, unfair games. But then I found Hero Wars, and I can tell.
I let it go too long. Okay, hello everybody. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Good to see you all. Good to see you all. Today, we are going to be talking about Babylon 5. I've got a bunch of action figures that were in my collection, and part of the reason this came up is because, again, it's another line that I needed maybe like 3 or 4 figures. I don't know what it was, but there's 3. There was like 2 variants and I think 3 figures that I needed out of the line. So it was something that I'm going back through all of my 90s stuff and saying which lines did I enjoy, which lines did I collect, and then which lines do I want to finish before the 90s catches on even more than it has. I was shocked. Babylon 5, this is going to blow you away. It's already catching on, because when I went to look for the few figures that I need, I found out that a couple that I already own and some of the figures that I need, 2 of the figures I need are unbelievably expensive. No, Mr. B. Let me introduce who's in the chat here. We got Palpatine 1975. I sense a great disturbance in the toys. And Mr. B and me. Okay, so I guess there's just you and Palpatine right now, Mr. B. And because he was like, am I here all alone? What? Stream unavailable? What? Did it kick us out? Did it kick me out? Hello? Can you not see me right now? Did I get in trouble for playing Babylon 5? Hold on. We may have to restart the stream. No, it's on. It's on. It's on. I just saw it on. I just looked. I looked on my other account. It's on. Yeah, I see you now. There you go. There you go. All right. Okay, cool. So yeah, I've been going through my 90s action figures and figuring out which like, Playmate Star Trek, I want to collect. I want to get more of them, if not all of them, from Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine. And I've been going through my Toy Biz, Marvel and X-Men, Fantastic Four, Iron Man. I want to get all those. And I'm pretty close, I think, on a lot of those lines. So I've been going through these 90s lines. Like we went through Hercules. Pardon me. And there's a couple more Hercules figures I'm going to pick up. And I got my Babylon 5 figures. They're usually hanging over there by the door on the wall. And so I was going through and looking at these. The part of the reason is because I personally believe that the 90s action figures are starting to come into their spotlight. And I mean, like Star Trek Playmates, for example, and especially the Marvel Toy Biz, those things were like $5 action figures all day, dollar bin action figures. You know what I mean? Like I would go all over the place just 4 or 5 years before lockdown, and you would find them everywhere in dollar bins or just like that. Not even some stores don't even bother putting them out because they're not worth the space in the store to put out. So they have boxes of them in the back room, and you got to ask, can I look at your boxes of Playmates, and I promise you I'll buy like 20 of them or something, and they'll pull them out. But lately, some of the Star Trek figures, there's a couple of them that are starting to go up. Like look at 7 of 9 from Voyager. She's $50 now, $50-$60. Some of the other aliens and females, especially from the line, are going up in price. Some of the Marvel, like look at Spider-Man, look at Venom, look at some of the Wolverines. They're starting to get up into the especially some of the variants. They're starting to get up there. And I also noticed, surprisingly, so like I said, there's 1 or 2 variants. I think there's 2 variants that I needed, and then 3, like maybe 3 other figures to have the complete Babylon 5 line. And 2 of those figures that I need, I found out are pushing the $100 mark. And that is unbelievable to me, because all the ones that I own, I bought right before I left Seattle. So I bought 5 years ago, all the ones that I own, and they were less than $10 a figure. All right. And one of the figures that I do own in particular, I go on eBay, and I went on sale, like sold auctions. This is sold, not what's currently up, what's sold. And the Shadow Warrior, the Shadow Alien, he's sold for $200 to $300, and some of them are as much as $400. So a figure that I paid probably $8 or $9 for 5 or 6 years ago, and it was in dollar bins everywhere. It wasn't just like I got lucky. No, these action figures were all over the place in dollar bins, $5 bins, $10 bins, And I saw this whole pile and paid, I think I paid $90 for this whole pile. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 13 action figures that I got for $90. And one of those action figures is now worth $300 to $400 according to eBay. You know what people have been paying for them lately. So it kind of freaked me out that it's already starting to happen with obscure lines like Babylon 5 here. There's, like I said, there's one figure in the group that I own here that's selling for $70, $80. And then there's another one, another alien that's getting up there. Bester, the Psycop, is $75, $80. I need him. And I don't know if I'm going to buy him now because he's so expensive. And then there was one other guy that I need that was around $100. And again, I'm not sure I'm going to buy him because of how much he is. So I already feel like I missed getting a full collection of Babylon 5 figures because they're already going up. And I thought this line would be one of those ones that are in obscurity. No one would even be paying attention to it. But no, some of these figures are, like I said, pushing $100, and one of them's $300 to $400. So it's crazy what these are going for already. And yeah, it's just weird. But that's not to say every figure is out of touch, because I also have a big box here that I just bought. Boom. And this box is full of action figures. Now, it was a job lot. There's Babylon 5. There is Lost in Space. There is Doctor Who, Star Trek, and Stargate, all in this box. So it was a big job lot. So we'll go through that box in a minute. But pardon me, I'm sorry. I've been sick lately, so I've been sick. I had I actually got the crud, and my dad as well. So we've had ourselves under lockdown for the last week, anyways. So, and I'll probably end up staying locked down until Tuesday, till Wednesday, maybe at least. We'll see how I am. But the way I feel like I'm okay, but I've just got a little bit something. You can feel that something's in there. You know what I mean? So you know you're not quite ready to go out. Otherwise, you could still pass it on. I think you could still pass it on to somebody else. I don't know. But just to be safe, I'm still, until I'm sure there's nothing in there, you know. But let's start looking at the figures then. Let's bring this in and start looking at the figures, because I don't think we need to talk about it much more. So we'll add that to stream. We're going to make them big, and we're going to start looking at these figures. And I think I'm going to take my hat off because I'm hot for some reason. I think my dad turned the air. There's no air on. Like, we had to buy a new air conditioner, and now he's like, we don't want to run the air that much because it's like it probably broke because my dad was running it like constantly, and so now he's paranoid that it's gonna break again because he will. So these are my action figures that I bought. Like I said, probably about 6 years ago. It was right before I left Seattle, and back then, like I said, I paid $90 for, what did we say, 14 figures? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 figures for $90. So that's how much they were 6 years ago, and they were pretty much that price everywhere you went. You know what I mean? They were cheap, inexpensive figures, and it didn't matter what figure you had. Nothing was worth more than anything else. But now, just 6 years later, the market has completely changed, and some of these figures have gone bonkers. And after moving to Florida, I got to meet J. Michael Straczynski, and J. Michael Straczynski was the guy that wrote and I think he wrote and directed. I don't know. He wrote the story and most of the episodes of Deep Space Nine. J. Michael Straczynski has written comic books. He's done a really good line of comics on Spider-Man. One of the best Spider-Man runs in modern days, I'd say, is J. Michael Straczynski, and also he did a great run on Thor. One of the best runs of Thor that have been around in a long time. A lot of people hail that as one of the best, and he's written a ton of cartoons, even going all the way back to if you look at some of the G.I. Joe, Transformers, some of those episodes way back in the day, you're going to see J. Michael Straczynski's name on the writing credits. Cough drop time. This is going to help. So he also wrote a lot of Star Trek episodes for, I'd say, like Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. You'll find J. Michael Straczynski on like Knight Rider, Airwolf. You might see his name come up once in a while. Like he just wrote on a number of different shows, and it's amazing that he never really got his own show until Babylon 5, seeing how prolific the writer was, and but he was nice enough to autograph the action figure of John Sheridan for me. Captain John Sheridan, Earth Force uniform with Babylon 5 space station. So he comes with the station model. I have never actually opened one of these action figures, so I don't know how they are. But I do know that in the job lot that I just bought, I do have a couple duplicates. So I might just end up opening one to see how they are. Right here on this show. I don't know. We'll see. Pardon me. I don't know if I'm going to make it through. I hope I make it through. Got it for life. A Babylon project was launched by Earth Alliance President Luis Santiago in 2249, following the conclusion of the Earth-Minbari War. The project's goal was to create an environment in which humans and aliens could resolve their differences peacefully, and above all, avoid another war based on a misunderstanding. Babylon 5 came online in 2256 and turned fully operational in 2257. The station is located in an area of neutral space, the Euphrates sector, relatively central to the 5 major powers, the Earth Alliance, the Minbari Federation, Centauri Republic, Narn Regime, and the Vorlon Empire. When the Narn-Centauri War broke out in 2259, it was the beginning of the end for Babylon 5's peacekeeping mission. However, in 2260, the station assumed a greater function as the last best hope for victory in the war against the Shadows. And it says the station that you get with Sheridan is 5 miles long, and its casing alone weighs 2.5 million tons. It can house 250,000 inhabitants at a time and is visited by 50 to 60 ships daily. Ambassador Delenn, Ambassador Londo Malari, Ambassador Jacquard. Captain John Sheridan assumed command of the Babylon 5 station on the 8th of January 2259 following the reassignment of Commander Sinclair. Sheridan is a celebrated tactical thinker who is particularly good at fighting a superior enemy and overcoming adverse odds. He is also a patriot who will fight to protect Earth from both internal and external threats. Okay. Do I need this? I don't want to peel that off right now. So they look to be like they're giant size 5 POA figures. I don't see any elbow movements or knee movement in them. And they don't really come with any accessories or even a stand, I don't think. I think there's just a figure and a ship in there. I don't know. But yeah, there's John Sheridan. Interesting, I guess. We'll see. And then the next one we got to look at is Delenn became one of the most powerful characters on the show, standing alongside Sheridan. Boy, she looks weird, right? And she's got the Minbari flyer with her. Ambassador Delenn with Minbari flyer. Huh. These were a Warner Brother toy. Warner Brother Toys. Exclusive premiere. And I think you could only get them at comic stores. I'm not 100%. Toy design, Warner Brothers Toys. Yeah. Distributed by Exclusive Toy Products, Inc. So I'm not exactly sure if these were in toy stores. I almost think no. I think they were like Diamond Select, I've heard, I knew they put them out. So I think it was they went to comic book stores and stuff, right? Delenn is a member of the Minbari religious caste. Ambassador Delenn was assigned to Babylon 5 to study the human race. Over time, Delenn has evolved into one of the human race's strongest allies. In 2259, she metamorphosized into half-human, half-Minbari in an effort to bring the two races closer together. So, there's a thing with that. Like, there's a behind-the-scenes reason for that, but we'll get into it in a second. The Minbari Flyer is a short-range military communication vessel. It can hold up to 3 crew members and carries no weapons at all. And there's John Sheridan, Jakar, and Ambassador Londo Mollari. Londo. Jakar. So you'll see Delenn has hair, and if we get her aid here, Minbari normally looks like this with the bone around his skull. And the reason Delenn has hair instead of the bone is because she went through a metamorphosis and changed herself to look more human. But the behind-the-scenes story is the actress was having severe allergic reactions to the makeup. And she basically, it was down to, like, she either had to quit, and they would get a new actress, or they would make it so she didn't have to wear the makeup. And so they didn't want to get rid of the actress. Everybody liked her, including everybody watching the show, the people on the show, Straczynski, everybody doing the show. So they came up with this idea at the end of the first season to basically, her character disappeared, like, I would say almost halfway through the first season, and went into a cocoon. And so the actress could then go and get treatment and not have to worry about this. And they would come up with a new prosthetic, which basically just was a hair piece that slid into her hair, just like, a hair comb or something like that. You know what I mean? It just kind of slipped in there, and she wouldn't have to wear the makeup anymore. And so it was kind of like this show evolved based on things that were happening behind the scenes, and it was almost a shame because it made it so Straczynski's original idea never actually came out in the show. Like, because there were running changes like that. Also, what happened was there was such an uproar with some of the acting and the actors that were in the first season that the studio put him under pressure, saying, if you don't fire these people and hire somebody else to play the captain or whatever, we're going to cancel the show. So if you want a second season, you got to do this. And they pressured him enough to where it ended up happening. He had to get rid of a couple people and hire new people, which is where Bruce Boxleitner came in, because Bruce Boxleitner had more star power for these TV shows than the guy who was playing Sinclair. So instead of making him Sinclair and trying to explain why he looks different, they just gave him a different name, Sheridan, and Sheridan went on to do what Sinclair would have done. But as the story went along, he found an interesting loophole, Straczynski did, where he could write Sinclair back into the story. So it goes like as a favor to the actor and kind of like, you know, heal some of those wounds of being let go. He convinced him to come back and wrote him into the story as sort of a it was like a loop, like a time loop kind of thing. And oh man, sorry. And some of what he originally wanted to do with Sinclair, he did with Sheridan, but then some of what he wanted to do with Sinclair, he ended up finishing with Sinclair. So it was pretty interesting that he was able to sort of wrap that in with the story. Some of these things that were going behind the scenes with the studios and everything, he ended up wrapping into the story. And some people say it could have ended up making the story better. But a lot of people still wonder what his original plan was, if he had been allowed to do it. Because the other problem is, after season 3, the studio came back to him, to J. Michael Straczynski, and said, listen, the numbers aren't up as high as we would like. You really got to finish it off in 4 seasons instead of 5. Because he originally signed a 5-season deal. And they weren't making enough money off it, I guess. The numbers weren't high enough. So they said, you only got 4 seasons, so finish up the story. So he did. He finished the story at the end of the 4th season. And then, because he crammed so much story and so much stuff into season 4 to finish up what he set up from seasons 2 and 3, essentially, everybody watched the show during season 4, like the whole world. It became a big, it was huge. It was massive. So then the studio went back and said, hey, you got your 5th season. The numbers we're even beating Star Trek. You know what I mean? Like, this is like the #1 science fiction show in the world. So, yeah, you get season 5. And he's like, what the hell? I ended it. Like, you can't give me another season. And they're like, well, you're under contract. You have to do it. And he's like, no, you said it was canceled. They're like, you have to do it no matter what, you know. So he had to basically come up with a 5th season out of nowhere because he had no story, no idea where it was going to go. And a lot of people think it was the weakest season because it is. I mean, there's not a lot going on during the 5th season. And it tries to set up stuff for the future because they also came back and said they wanted to do some spin-off stuff, which they did do a couple spin-off shows and a spin-off movie. Because the season 4 numbers were so high, they just greenlit anything Babylon 5 related, and of course everything else just failed because there wasn't a plan. There was a plan for 5 seasons with a beginning, middle, and end, and the studio screwed that up. So all these spin-offs and all these extra things, there was no real plan for where or direction to where that stuff was going to go, and the studio just rushed out some stuff with other directors, other people, and yeah, it just became a nightmare. So there is a big push right now to bring back Babylon 5, to bring back J. Michael Straczynski and do his original plan, his original story, and just let him go for however long it takes to tell that story. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Rolando's here now. Hey, Rolando. I was just thinking the same thing. Mr. B. Palpatine. Good morning, Rolando. Good to see you, man. Hope you are all right, pal. So this is Lanier with Minbari Cruiser. Lanier was aide to Delenn. So Lanier is Delen's aide. She's the ambassador to Babylon 5, and then Lanier is the Minbari aide to her. And preview exclusive item. Previews was a book that showed all the stuff on order. Now there's two Laniers. There's another Lanier in a brown, I think, which we might have in the box. I don't know. There's a reason I bought what's in the box, because the Babylon 5 figures, and there's some that I need in there. Lanier. So he comes with a Minbari warship. This is a Minbari cruiser. That's the warship class of their ships. And this has more figures on the back, so we can see more stuff. Delenn's more loyal Minbari aide, Lanier, had spent most of his life in a Minbari monastery, learning the ways of the religious caste. When he was first aboard Babylon 5, Lanier appeared naive and helpless, but soon demonstrated a number of hidden talents, including a flair for Minbari martial arts and a mastery of the laws of probability. The Minbari cruiser is the most powerful warship of all races in the known space. It could hold a crew of 250 people. Its superior stealth systems give it a decisive advantage over all scanning systems. Let's see. The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace. A self-contained world 5 miles long, located in neutral territory. A place of commerce and diplomacy for 250,000 humans and aliens. A shining beacon in space, all alone in the night. It was the dawn of the third age of mankind. The year of the Great War came upon us all. Opening narration by John Sheridan. Lanier. Lanier was played by Bill Mumy. Bill Mumy was the kid in the original Lost in Space. Captain John Sheridan, Ambassador Delenn, Ambassador Jikar, Ambassador Londo Malari, Susan Ivanova, Susan Ivanova, Ambassador Kosh Narek, Marcus Cole, Vier Koto, Michael Garibaldi, Stephen Franklin, and Lita Alexander. Now, I don't have Lita, and I don't have Franklin, but I think they're in the box that I bought, so that'll be the two of the ones that I needed. And then there's an alternate Veer and an alternate Lanier and an alternate Ambassador Delenn. So I need the alternates of these guys. And I think some of them I have now. And if I don't, I know one of them's on the way still. I did order one. Michael Garibaldi. Garibaldi is also played by a somewhat famous actor. I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you saw him in the show, you would definitely recognize him. Comes with an Earth Alliance atmospheric shuttle, this little shuttle ship. Garibaldi. Security Chief Michael Garibaldi's irreverent sense of humor and long-standing drinking problem have contributed to his colorful service record. Prior to Babylon 5, he was fired from his last 5 assignments for unspecified personal problems. Garibaldi knows Babylon 5 better than anyone else and is finally finding a purpose in his life aboard the station. The Earth Alliance atmospheric shuttle is the standard human vehicle for surface-to-orbit transports. The craft can also be fitted with scientific instruments for exploration. And we've got the same figures on the bottom there. Michael Garibaldi. Pretty cool. Susan Ivanova. That's what they said. Ivanova. That's how she said it in the show. She comes with one of the Star Furies, which are the fighter crafts for the Babylon 5 station for the Earth Alliance. Those are really cool fighter crafts. The way they move in space in the show. They made sure in the show to make the ships, like if you turned on a thruster, they would immediately spin all the way around. They would just loop around on a pivot point because there's no air in space. There'd be no friction. So they did a really good job with how they made them turn and move and maneuver and stuff, and it's really cool. They all had communicators on their hands. This has 7 figures on the back. Babylon 5's first officer, Susan Ivanova, supervises all day-to-day operations aboard the station. Efficient and hardworking, Ivanova is an experienced combat officer with over 100 hours flight experience. Her record's exemplary, but she is known to break the rules when necessary. The Star Fury is a high-performance Earth Alliance fighter. Space-suited pilots stand up in the craft to sustain the high G-forces from various maneuvers. Each is equipped with 4 pulse discharge cannons. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Marcus Cole with a White Star ship. Marcus Cole was a ranger on the show. That's why some of these, like, it's sad they don't come with accessories. He would have come with a staff. Because he's kind of like a warrior monk, if you want to think of it that way. Pretty cool character. Fell in love with Susan Ivanova, but she never returned that love. So they didn't get together on the show. One of the Rangers, Marcus Cole, became involved with the Army of Light after witnessing his Ranger brother die during a shadow attack. Each Ranger has sworn his life to the forces to fight the force of darkness. Marcus arrived on Babylon 5 in 2260 to ask Captain Sheridan to rescue Rangers that are blockaded by the Centauri. The revolutionary Minbari warship White Star incorporates both Minbari and Vorlon technology. The White Star has artificial gravity and, despite its relatively small size, can make its own jump point. Whoa. Yeah, they use jump gates in Babylon 5. That's how you jump into like a wormhole that will take you to another place in the galaxy. And you must have 2 of the jump gates active, you know, where you're going to start and where you're going to end in order to travel. But some of the larger ships can make their own opening point, and once you make an opening wormhole, you have to travel in that hyperspace, and you can only exit hyperspace in a with an exiting wormhole, which has to be, again, would only be a station, you know, I think. No, sometimes the big ships would just jump in from nowhere, wouldn't they? Yeah. So the big ships would use either one. They would either use the jump gates or their own to go in and out, yeah. Ambassador Londo Malari with Transport Centauri Republic. Kind of a neat, it almost looks like that ship from Aliens that crashed on LV-426 or whatever. The Minbari all wore their hair up like a sail. Weird hair, guys. Londo Malari was also played by another somewhat famous actor that I can't remember the name of, and so was Jakar. Jakar was a big-time actor that, again, I can't remember the name of. I need Chris. I need 1000th Ghost. He remembers all the actors' names. Ambassador Londo Mollari wants to recapture Centauri glory and power by wiping out the entire Narn race. Londo's lust for glory days of the Centauri Republic unleashed the force of darkness known as the Shadows and launched a series of events that threatened most of the galaxy. Yeah, it was basically all Londo's fault. The whole story of the war and what happened with the Shadows is almost all Londo's fault. The transport of Centauri Republic is a commercial sublight speed interstellar transport. It can hold 150 cubic meters of cargo, carries no weapons. It's funny that the ambassadors don't come with the warships. The aides do. Like, Veer comes with the heavy warship from the Republic. Veer has a blue coat on in this one. And like I said, there's a Veer with a brown coat as an alternate. I don't know why the aides all came with alternate colors, but whatever. But this is the Minbari warship. As the Centauri ambassador's aide, Veer has watched his master descend into darkness, unable to stop it. Veer is appointed Londo's aide because there were no other willing candidates. Veer receives little respect from Londo, who refuses to listen to Veer's warnings about the war actions. Heavy warship of the Centauri Republic was used in decimation of the Narn homeworld at the end of the Narn-Centauri War. Yeah, they took and made they took asteroids, rocks from space, and basically they made these mass pulverizers that they put on the front of the ship, and they hurled the big rocks into the Narn homeworld, and that's how they destroyed it. So they basically caused a asteroid collision apocalypse on the planet of Narn, completely and utterly decimating the whole world and its population of all life, essentially. And Jakar was on board Babylon 5 when this happened. Jakar is a Narn. The Narn are incredible characters. It's a great... The Centauri and the Narn are like the greatest alien race conflict sort of thing that I think science fiction has to offer. The war between them and what happens during the show is just incredible. It's brilliant writing. It's great to see this conflict between two alien races that's not involving Earth. You know what I mean? Like Earth is on the sideline of this war. You know what I mean? It's like, but that Earth has to deal with the consequences and what happens in the end. You know, so I guess that's sort of where Earth's involvement is. But it's like, it was just an interesting way to do it, you know. And again, J. Michael Straczynski signed this action figure, so I've got two of them signed by him. And he comes with a Narn fighter. But Jakar was a great character. Really cool, very well played. The actor, like I said, he was a famous actor. I know he was in a million things, but I just can't remember his name off the top of my head. As a young Narn, Jakar saw his father die at the hands of a Centauri master and swore to serve his people ever after. He first came to Babylon 5 in 2256, hoping to strengthen the Narn security and gain new alliances. Jakar believes the annihilation of the Centauri race is the only way to secure Narn's future. The Centauri enslaved the Narn people before eventually the Narn rose up against them and started the Narn-Centauri War, and then Centauri ended that war by pulverizing their planet with asteroids. The Narn fighter is a short-range military fighter designed for a single pilot. Each is equipped with 2 pulse discharge cannons and quick reaction maneuverability. Pretty cool. And then we get into the oldest race in the galaxy, the Vorlons. Now, the Vorlons are only shown in this encounter suit. Sorry, pardon me. Nobody knows quite what they look like under the encounter suit. At least in the beginning of the show, you don't. And there's a reason for that, because it turns out as the show goes on, they're older than anyone even realized. They are probably billions of years older than the other races. And no one realizes that in the beginning because they're very secretive. But at some point something happens, and Kosh is the ambassador to Vorlon, from Vorlon. That he has to leave his encounter suit to save somebody. And pardon me, getting a drink. He has to leave the encounter suit to save somebody, and we as the viewers get to witness what he looks like when he comes out of the encounter suit. And you see that every single race, they show all the different alien races looking up at the being that is up there rescuing the guy, and they each see something different. They each see a different, basically, I'm going to spoil it a little bit here, but human beings see an angel, what we would call an angel from the Bible. Where other races see a similar thing, a celestial being from their mythology, whatever their religious mythology is. So it turns out that they're so old that they helped out all the younger races in some way, and that those ancient myths are true, but it's not like they're gods and angels. It was this race of aliens that was influencing and working with the people in the early stages. But way back then, they realized that these primitive races were starting to worship them as gods, so they left because they didn't want... Their influence was supposed to be with like agriculture and technology and knowing right from wrong and building up to a peaceful society, not to create some kind of religion around them. So they realized that they screwed up by interfering in such an early point in a lot of the race's development. And so they had to basically stand aside and wait until everybody was ready to know. But due to circumstances, everyone found out before they were ready. So it's very interesting. These guys are very cool. A very interesting thing. As the Vorlon ambassador to Babylon 5, Kosh Narek has divulged little about himself and tends to speak in riddles. He usually wears the encounter suit that provides his required environment. Kosh left his encounter suit once to rescue Captain Sheridan from certain death, and was revealed as a creature of light. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's exactly what I was talking. They kind of sort of spoil it on the back of the toy box, The Vorlon cruiser is an interstellar military cruiser capable of jump point formation. Vorlons use bioorganic technology, and their ships register as life forms. Yeah, they're so advanced that they basically... Their ship is essentially an alien life form in its own. And then they did a cheap way out where they repainted Kosh and made it the Vorlon Visitor, just a different Vorlon. But he comes with the same exact ship. They didn't repaint that. But it's the exact same figure, they just repainted it. And made it a Vorlon Visitor instead of Kosh. The oldest, most powerful race aboard Babylon 5, the Vorlons, are shrouded in mystery. Captain Sheridan's once estimated that Vorlon technology was to be at least 1,000 years ahead of Earth. The Vorlons have traveled widely, but do not welcome other races trying to make contact with them in their territory. Centauri and Earth Alliance ships sent into Vorlon space have disappeared without a trace. And that's the same blurb about their ship. Yeah, it is kind of weird that like they'll actively blow up everything that comes into their area, but Earth and Centauri just kind of leave. They I guess they just went, oh, okay, well, they're super powerful. We better just leave them alone. And then here's the shadows, the shadow sentient. Now the shadows, if you were to take this out, he's got arms that come out and legs that. This is the most complicated of the action figures. And what's funny is, like, I would have got more of these and opened one up because he's such a complex action figure. But now seeing that these sell in the package for $300 to $400, I'm not gonna open this up. So yeah, and when I was thinking about finishing this line, I thought I'd get a couple more of these and open one or two up, but no, not anymore. This is staying sealed and not gonna see. So that's how he is. So probably the coolest looking figure, once you unfold him and get all his legs and everything out, it's a crazy looking figure. The shadows are the second race in the galaxy to gain sentience. They were among the first to discover and manipulate hyperspace. When visible, the shadows are arachnid-like in appearance. Their advanced understanding of the nature of matter allows them to phase, making them visible only to obscure bandwidths in the EM spectrum. That's also why they're called shadows, because they can sort of disappear. They can bend light around them in a sense. They disappear and reappear at will, both their ships and themselves. So, and they generally work from the shadows. They just manipulate and get their way. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then we have another alien here. Sorry that this one is in a sort of a discolored packaging. So there's Shayla, the game intelligence, with a game intelligence patch. So that you get a patch instead of a vehicle with this one. This was the last series of figures, which I think they changed the plastic on. So you're going to see a lot of these with dark. The bubble has changed colors because for some reason in the very last series they altered the packaging. And now we have a new box for the back. So you got them basically separated into their waves. Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3, Wave 4. And Wave 4, they got rid of the ships and came out with this. And all four of these figures are going to have the dark bubbles. If you find one with a clear bubble, they're worth a lot. And all four of these figures, consequently, now are hard to find. Like this guy is pushing $100. Bester's $75. And so these are getting expensive, especially this wave, because no one bought these. That's why I guess that's why I didn't get them when I got the rest of the figures. Interesting. And he doesn't even have movable legs. He only has arms that move. That's barely even an action figure. All right, now let's get into the fun part. Let's get into the box. Collecting's here. Hey, Brett. How you doing? Good morning. Good to see you, Brett. So, the box that I got, we'll actually go through everything that's in it. So, I've got another Delenn. So she's a duplicate. I have a very crushed version of Ambassador Jumper Tridiker. So this is already open. It's so crushed it's already open. So he might be one that let's slide him out and take a look at him. Because we haven't actually looked at one of these figures yet. And because I don't have any that are open, but this one's basically already open here. The package is so destroyed. So let's slide him out. And we'll see the quality on these guys because we haven't actually seen what these are like. Oh, they're solid. They're a lot more solid than I thought they'd be. I'm going to take the bubble completely off here. I don't. So these figures are a lot more solid than I thought. Doesn't have much. I don't even know if his head is supposed to move. It doesn't want to move. But the hands move. You, over there. No leg movement down there. He's basically a statue, like we were saying. Pretty good head sculpt, though. I mean, it's not bad detailing and work on these figures. There's just not much playability. You can't really do a whole lot with them. And they should have come with some accessories, I think. But oh, it does twist a little bit in there. And we get a patch of, I guess it's one of these guys in the dark, right? Yeah. A little cloth patch. That's interesting. It's cool to have him at least. But I've got to get a good one in the box for that guy to have in my collection. And then we got, let's see, what else is in here? Here we go. So this is the Veer alternate. So let's see if I can find, where was Veer? Veer was the blue ship ones, would be this one, right? So there's the two different Veers. Or, I mean, Linear. Well, not Veer. Linear. Sorry. The Minbari named Linear. So, yeah, there were two different versions. They're the exact same mold, if you look in every way. They're exactly the same. But they're just colored differently, you know what I mean? This one is totally brown with blue lines, and this one did the lines in green, but they went brown and blue. So I needed the alternate version, so that's good. So now we got that, and I mean, like, yeah, in the show they did change clothes. This was also one of those shows where they changed clothes a lot. So, you know, a lot of times people in shows get a uniform and they're stuck with that uniform forever. This show, they kind of, almost every season they had different uniforms and different throwbacks to things and stuff. So we need that one. Let's see, what else we got? Lita Alexander. Okay. So I did not have Lita prior to this. There's actually two of her in the box. So I don't think there's a difference between these two. I think both figure, yeah. I met this actress, the one who played Lita. This one's partially opened. Lita Alexander was the first commercial telepath assigned to Babylon 5. Following the assassination attempt on Vorlon Ambassador Kosh, Alexander was recalled to Earth, where she faced interrogation from Psycorps. She escaped to Mars and is now a rogue telepath. She's taken up part-time residence at Babylon 5 working for Kosh. Kosh eventually sends her to the Vorlon homeworld where they enhance her abilities, her telepath abilities, and she becomes a super powerful telepathic being in the world, in the galaxy. The green ship serves as a commercial transport, requires 3 crew members, and can hold up to 5 additional passengers. The transport's capable of life support up to 72 standard Earth days. Okay, I don't know why we need to know that, but sure. So, I'm going to be definitely adding this one, I think, to my collection because it's on the card more. It's sealed on the card better. And I'll put that in for trade stock, the other one. And then, let's see, what do we got? Another Londo Mollari, which I already have Londo, so he's just extra. Pretty neat. Cool Londo. Londo. Another Jakar for trade stock. And we have another Michael Garibaldi for trade stock. We have another John Sheridan. Boy, there's a lot of duplicates in this one that I've got. I know there were more figures I needed out of this. Let's see. Here we go. Dr. Stephen Franklin with Earth Science Vessel. Babylon 5's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Stephen Franklin, will bend or break any rule to save a life. He joined Earth Force during the Earth-Minbari War when he asked to hand over his notes on the Minbari to help create a biogenic weapon. He destroyed them because of his commitment to preserving life. The Earth Science Vessel is a long-range ship equipped for scientific exploration with 2 low stretching wings that meet the vessel's mid-fuselage. The ship is powered by 2 main thrusters at the rear of the craft. Okay. Dr. Stephen Franklin. So that was one I needed. And then this is also one I need. Captain Elizabeth Lockley with Earth Alliance Command Staff patch. So this is also another one of the last series guys that comes in that always seems to show up in the dark coloring. So technically the only one I need, because he was in the damage package. We got him, we got her. So the only one I need is Bester, technically. But like I said, the Besters I've seen online are pushing $75, $80, $100. So I'm going to have to find him at a local shop that hasn't realized the prices have gone up yet, because there's bound to be some places around that have just had them in a bin forever, and they don't know that they don't know that these are starting to climb. But then we've got every other figure, and like I said, the alternate version of Delenn is coming. So yeah, that might mean I only need the one figure, Bester, to have them all, technically. And maybe if I can find him again in a good package, it might be something to get. So yeah, this lot helped out a lot. Get it? Yeah. So also in the box is a Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax from Star Trek. And she comes with a USS Defiance helm console. So you get a whole console piece that you can put together, put stickers on it. that's pretty cool. But I think she's taller. This is when they made them taller than the other figures. She's almost as tall as these guys. For some reason, they moved to like a 5 inch or 5.5 instead of the 4-inch Playmates. They jumped up an inch or so, and it made no sense because then they didn't fit with the line that came out the year before. So it was like that. I think that's what killed the line. You know. And then we have a Doctor Who figure in here. Laszlo Doctor Who. This is all in that job lot that had the Babylon 5 figures. There were just extra stuff in here. And there's 2 copies of the same figure from Lost in Space. Professor John Robinson. And I do have a couple Lost. No, I have one I pulled off my wall. I already own Judy Robinson in the cryo suit. So having John Robinson is kind of neat. I will probably just hang him up next to Judy and have them both on the wall now. But there's a Will Robinson, Don West, Dr. Smith, 2 different Dr. Smiths, okay, and then John. And then we have the robot with battle damage, rocket launcher robot, and a deluxe robot that's motorized remote control. And then we have these ships, the bubble fighters, and we have the Jupiter 2 with pop-out hyperdrive. These bubble ships, I've heard, are really, really cool toys, but I have never seen one yet, so I don't know. But I have heard they're really cool toys. So I'll hang him up with the other ones. That's pretty cool. And then the last thing in the box, he sent in a second box. He sent in a separate, because that box was pretty full, so he sent this separately. This was another reason I wanted this job lot. We're going to be getting into a second line I'm going to go into in a few weeks. I don't know if it'll be next week or a few weeks, somewhere down the road. Pardon me. Stargate. I want to go into Stargate somewhere in the next somewhere down the road for this early morning vintage, because Stargate is another line that I'm making sure I have everything of, because I've got the wing glider on my display. I've always had that in my display. But there's not many figures and things to collect for Stargate. But Stargate is one of those interesting lines that a lot of the stuff is taken from other lines. So like this vehicle we're unwrapping right here is actually from G.I. Joe. It's the Awe Striker from G.I. Joe, repurposed as a desert vehicle for Stargate. So it's kind of cool. I enjoy getting those remakes and alternate versions of things. So I really wanted this. So when I saw that this was in this job lot, I was like, holy crap, I gotta get that. So not only did it have some of the Babylon 5 figures I needed, it had that interesting Lost in Space I could put with the other figure I had, and a couple other guys from Star Trek and things that I needed. I also got this that I needed, and wanted to have. So pretty cool. Looks like this was at a place called Bradley's for $11.99, but they crossed it out and clearanced it at $4 back then. all-terrain cruiser with shooting alien blaster. Without this all-terrain cruiser, the Stargate team would be stuck among the sand dunes of the planet Abydos. Open to alien attack, outfitted with turbocharged power plant, this battle machine can travel at high speed over the toughest terrain to escape desert sandstorms. And when alien winged gliders fly in to attack, the spring-fired missile launchers can blast them from the sky. And there's the winged glider, which is sort of like the tape ruined the picture of it. And there's the mastage, that stupid beast that licked him. And says collect them all, each sold separately. Official action figures, vehicles, and accessories bring the Stargate movie to life. Movie adventure to life. Travel through the Stargate and discover a distant galaxy where the doorway to adventure unlocks the mysteries of another world. Roll bars with missile launcher, armored plated body, video cam recorder, 2 communication antennas, all-terrain sand dune tires. Yeah, this was exactly like the Awe Striker from G.I. Joe. What is the name of the ancient Egyptian sun god? Circle. I know it's Ra. It was Amun Ra, actually. Amun Ra. Where do they have the answer to that anywhere on here? Do you know something fascinating? Do you want to hear something fascinating? Do you want to go into super awesome science? So yeah, look at this. He told me that this was put together. He did say that, or at least they put the stickers on it or something. Yeah, so I guess it hasn't been put together because they're still on the sprues. But they put the stickers on it before putting it together. And yeah, so the stickers are on it. Okay. Should we? I don't mind putting it together. Should we put it together? I mean, to me, I want it, but I don't mind putting it together since it's already open. So, super awesome science. Here you go. Here you go. Here's a little tidbit of knowledge that is sort of fascinating. So, if you are Christian, Catholic, or any of these kind of things, you might know that. First, take note that yes, the sun god was originally called Amun Ra, and Amun Ra was the god above all other gods. So Egyptians did have many gods, just like like you might think of like Romans or Greek, where there were Perseus was the god of something. Well, Perseus was the son of a god, right? Sorry. Poseidon, I meant, was like the god of the water, like Neptune is a god of water, and there were gods of air and gods of, fire and stuff like that. But in Egyptian lore, there were gods of death and gods of life and gods of reincarnate, whatever, different gods. But one god that was above all other gods was Amun Ra, who was the sun god. And later shortened to just Ra, I think. Like some people just call him Ra. But his full name is actually Amun Ra. And you might notice that part of his name is Amun, A-M-E-N. And at the end of a lot of Egyptian prayers, they do say, in the Lord's name we pray, Amen. And that was carried over into Christianity and Catholicism and all those other things. And over time, people forgot or just whatever that Amen was the name of the one God above all other gods. So even today, when you're saying at the end of the prayer, in the Lord's name we pray, Amen, you're technically saying Amun Ra's name. you get what I'm saying? Like that connection still exists even to this day. There we go. There we go. All right, let me look at the instructions real quick. We don't want to screw this up. We don't want to screw this up. So, Stargate instructions. It says find this front end piece. Steering linkage. Okay, he put them, those are put together already. Got it. Okay, so these have already been put together in a sense. Okay. So front suspension goes on this way right here. All right. Rear suspension goes on like this. Okay, so that goes in here. Oh, and then you fold it under. Okay. And clip it on here. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Oh, this is cool. You're not seeing this all, so I'm going to angle it a little bit better. All right, that's cool. So that's the front and rear suspension on. Cool. And then we have the steering column. He put it together already. Video camera, the hose. He snapped it in. So then we're taking this part, and he says to slide it over this. Pop it in like that. There we go. And then the engine. Goes on like that. The engine cover pops on like that. Cool. This thing's coming together good. And then this thing pops on the front. Nice. And then we have two antennas that pop on here and here. Whoops. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Wow, that's pretty cool. I like that. So the difference between the Awe Striker for G.I. Joe and this is that G.I. Joe actually has clear light things on these dune buggy lights, and the weapon on top is different. And I don't think the G.I. Joe one has the spot in the back for. Let me check, because I have an Awe Striker, so we can check. We can look at them side by side. Let me put the instructions back in the box so I don't lose them. So I have the box to this. I have the box to the winged glider, and I did order a mastage, which is coming. So when we do the Stargate episode, we can actually look at all the packaging from everything. I'm just a man and some coins at my local shop. I don't know if I'm going for Ewoks figures or not. I don't have any Star Trek, but the antique shop had a ton of newer comics from the 90s. Lobot, hi John. Hi Lobot. Very well. Hope the same for you guys. Yes, yes. JJ, how you doing? Good to see you, Gap After Dark. We made it through all the Babylon 5, and we were looking at what else was in the box, because I ordered a big job lot of action figures, and there was stuff from Star Trek, Babylon 5, Doctor Who, Lost in Space, and Stargate in the box. So we made it through all the Babylon 5 stuff, and just here at the end, you're catching us at the end here. We're kind of almost done. We were looking at this Stargate vehicle, but we wanted to look at it compared to the G.I. Joe Awe Striker, because it essentially is an Awe Striker from G.I. Joe. So we're going to get the Awe Striker out and put these side by side. So I'll be right back. Oh, no. Actually, I don't think I can get over. I forgot all these boxes were in the way. I don't think I can get over there. You know what, guys? I'm going to have to save the comparison for when we actually do a Stargate episode, because I can't get over there right now. Actually, I'm sort of I'm trapped by this wall of boxes that are behind me. So I'm not going to be able to get over there. Well, we'll be closing it up a little bit earlier than I thought, I guess. I'm terribly sorry about that. But anyway, this was a Babylon 5 episode, and that can be the Stargate episode that comes up later on. So let's see, who can we put out here? We'll put out here Babylon 5 shadow figure. And the Vorlons. And we got Jikar. Ambassador Mallory. So there we go. We were looking at Babylon 5 today, checking out these cool action figures from Warner Brothers Toys. As far as I know, you can only get them through comic book stores. We're figuring out, and they technically, I don't think we're in regular toy stores. Probably some of them were preview exclusive items. I think as they went later in the line, you could only order them through that previews thing at comic book stores. It was, and we found out that some of the figures, like the Shadow guy, is starting to get up to. 6 years ago I bought these figures. We figured out it was 13 figures for $90 that I got 6 years ago, and one of the figures in that lot is the Shadow that I had, and he is now going on eBay for $300 to $400. And then we got a second job lot that we bought just this week to sort of fill it out. And between what was in the job lot and what I previously owned, it turns out I now only need one action figure. I need Bester, the Psycop, so to have every single figure. But Bester is also one that has gone up. He's about $75, $80 to $100, so he might be difficult to find. I'm going to have to wait to see if I can find him at a local shop that doesn't realize the prices have gone up yet, because that does happen, and that's probably the best way to do it. You find someone who's got old stock and it's just been sitting there, because, like I said, before the pandemic, a lot of these figures were $10 or less. And now, for whatever reason, people are catching on to Babylon 5, which was a shock to me. I didn't know until I started doing research for this today's early morning video, and we found out that some of these figures are starting to climb up in value. A lot of them, like the main cast members, like because of this job lot we bought, really, I think it was the job lot was like, it worked out again to be less than $10. It's on my freaking phone. I sometimes hate this. I got my phone as the camera I'm using, but it also has my data on it to what I just paid for this stuff. You know what I mean? So it wasn't that much. It was less than $100 for that whole lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I want to say again, it was $80 or $90 for that whole lot of all those action figures you saw, and the Stargate vehicle in there. Like all together, it was less than $100. So that's why I grabbed it, because it was such a good deal for all those figures. And like I said, some of them were duplicates that I can trade or use in the future as trade fodder, whatever. You know what I mean? And yeah. So. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So my point is, you can find some of the main characters for still less than $10 a figure, and it's some of the aliens that are shooting up, and that last wave. What did we say the last wave was? It was those four figures that were in the. Those four figures that were in. They're always in darker boxes because they change the plastic. So yeah, it's these last four that are more expensive, and then the shadow guy. So when you start getting to series 3 and 4, that's where they get more expensive a little bit. But any of these first two waves, you should still be able to find for less than $10. So you can get a good chunk of, that's most of the main characters right there. So you can get a good chunk of the main characters for a good price, you know? Not break the bank. You won't break the bank. I'll rewatch later. Yeah. Trapped by Toys, the miniseries. Yeah, exactly. Garibaldi is my favorite. Yeah. You feeling better? I'm mostly better. Mostly. Yeah. As you can tell, once in a while I get kind of choked up still with a cough or an itch in my throat. My voice isn't 100% back, but it's actually harder to talk this long than I realized it would be. So it's been a little bit of a struggle to do this, but it'll be fine. And I think I'm going to take a break. I was tossing up. Coming up soon is Lego Studs on Salacious Rum's channel, and I was debating whether or not I was going to actually be on the show, but I kind of think I might want to have the break because we do have Jeopardy semifinals for Jeopardy coming up later today. So I think that's already posted up on the channel there. Yeah, Jeopardy. 1 o'clock Eastern will be Jeopardy today. And I think, Salacious Rum is going to be on as our special guest co-host. So there's the Jeopardy one. Yeah, there you go. Orlando's got it too. Orlando's got it up there. Orlando's on track. Jeopardy with Super Awesome. There you go. And Lego Studs. Yeah, Orlando's got Lego Studs up there. Yep, there it is. Lego Studs. Usual Mike is live. Is he live right now? Okay. So yeah, why don't we all go? I've got a Stargate Mega Blocks and Jumbo. Wow. I didn't know that they did Mega Blocks. I love the Babylon figures. Cool. Should we go over and say hi to Mike, and then we'll call the show an end this morning? Where is Mike here? Let me see if we can.
Going to
Hi, Mike.
change the size inside the boxes again? That's a good question.
There he is.
You don't know until, I assume, for Star Wars Black Series, they go back to the mural packaging. But for anything else, there's the packaging that is comic book, the one with the open flap. You open up and there's a cardboard. They'll take that out and put the plastic back in there, just like they did. For anything else, I have no idea what they're going to do.
So yeah, we'll
2-pack. Yeah, they'll go back.
We'll all say hi to Mike, and then we'll leave our show and stay over there.
I did see Hasbro had a little reel, and it had, who was it? A yellow Power Ranger. I know nothing about Power Rangers, and I'm pretty certain that was their new. They went back to the window, that figure. I should show it in an upcoming video. Who was? They're milking the cow. For now, sticking with indie retros, not getting the 6-inch.
So
right, yes, you old school. Like
everyone out there in the world.
How far away is that new Star Wars retro box set with Arts?
Thank you for joining me this morning. Head on over to Usual Mike's channel and continue over there talking to Usual Mike this morning. Come back later on onto Salacious Rum's channel for Salacious Rum is having Lego studs, so head on over right now. Go watch Usual Mike. Then when Mike's done, watch Salacious Rum on Lego studs. When Lego Studs is done, come back to this channel at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we'll get into Jeopardy. All right?
Yeah, I'm happy to.
So that's the plan for this morning, everybody. Usual Mike,
from sharing that screen.
Salacious Rum, then back to me. All right? We'll see you guys in a few hours. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Anyway, I'll stop sharing.
Stay awesome out there, everyone.
And one screen I will share is this one.